Hello and welcome to the Monday edition of the Locker Room Voice of the People Television. I am Jerry Alpelio and I've got a thrilling show for you today. It promises to be exciting as we take a look at matters arising as far as football is concerned. And joining me today are the usual suspects. Ikechukwu joins us again on this very wet Monday morning. Monday afternoon, evening. It's been all wet in the Lagos city, talking about the Western African country, Nigeria. It's been one hell of a day. And of course, Maiwa, hopefully he gets to join us. That's if he makes it out of the mountain in this very, very rainy day. All right, Ikechukwu, great to have you join us once again. Lots to talk about in the exciting world of football.
Yes, absolutely, Jerry. It's a wet Monday, like you rightly said. Everywhere is flooded. I remember that a few minutes ago I was asking you questions and you were telling me how, flooded the area, was. And I mean, it's so good to be here. Lots happening in the world of sports generally. Of course, even though this is very much a football show, I would like to also talk about the Tigers, how they actually did.
The Tigers,
how they actually did, the remarkable.
And if you're reminding the president of the follow-up, not to forget their $100,000 when they hit Aso Rock very soon.
I want to see them also get that $100,000.
I think it will be too much to ask.
No, it's not too much to ask, Jerry. It's not too much to ask.
This is just number 5. They need to do number 10. Then they can get $100,000.
Jerry, you understand that when this tournament started, the Afrobasket for
the Tigers were undoubtedly going to win.
No, Jerry. When it started, the first 5 editions, or more than, I think the first was Mali, Cameroon won next, and then Angola won twice before the Tigers started winning. So it's not like we are actually the best from the start. So we actually developed into becoming the best. So this alone is a good reason for them to actually.
I think the Tigers team is just a USA Team B. Because
that is what our football team is already turning into. Foreign-born Nigerians.
Anyway, even our football team is still fair because they still have to compete.
It's good.
But in basketball, man, America and the rest, you just leave it there. And of course, if we have American TB playing for Nigeria, definitely, I expect 15 more editions coming the way of the Tigers.
It doesn't matter. The most important thing is they did it and they have to get their own $100,000.
I think the president will use his own discretion.
Okay, now it's all about discretion.
No, if he decides to give the $100,000, a lot of Nigerians will still not be happy, saying why sharing money here and there. But of course, the president has said he's waiting for them. He has already dropped.
Let him just give them their $100,000. That's
and 3-bedroom.
And national honor.
And national honor as well as the governors too.
Yes.
Should also give them 10 million.
Jerry, because the money that they give to the Super Falcons, I'm not saying they shouldn't even give them money, but that money they give to them, if they use that money to revamp like Abuja Stadium, make it an Olympic stadium for all sports, to develop our girls.
I think that money will be enough for that stadium now.
No. The stadium.
The economy right now, that kind of money, how far will it go?
To revamp the stadium.
Yes.
Not to build from scratch. It's going to go a long way.
Revamping, because a lot of things have been. Have you been to the stadium, Abuja Stadium?
Jerry, at least if we make effort towards revamping that stadium, to make it in a state-of-the-art stadium and then an Olympic size that's going to cover all sports for development alone.
All right, Maiwa is in, and of course he has dodged the rains and the torrid wet weather. Maiwa, it's great to have you join us.
Well, it's always amazing to be here. Recovering from the Copa America female final, Brazil and Colombia, very interesting game. And for the Tigers, congratulations to them. But as we are congratulating the Tigers, I think we should also sit back and look back at what we are doing as a nation. No disrespect to the Tigers. The Tigers, rather, they've done so well. They've been so dominant on the African scene. But because we have the Tigers, because they are coming from where they have been developed for us to use, our own development here is nothing to write home about. None of the players on the Tigers team is a full Nigerian. None of them at this moment. None of the starting 5, starting 6 it's a Nigerian that is bought and born and brought up here, and it's a shame. We are a country of over 200 million, and yet we are relying on foreign-born, Nigerians to help us out. As far as I'm concerned, that is American Team B, and the reason why majority of them switched is because probably maybe they don't have enough opportunity to play in the American team, and that's the reason why they decided to choose Nigeria. How long are we going to start doing that? We are doing that in football already. 8 out of 11 players is they are foreign born. We are doing the same thing in basketball. All the players that play for us, they are foreign born. When are we going to start developing our own? When are we going to start development? When are we going to start seeing development? In terms of grassroots football, what happens to our basketball? What happens to our football? It's just so unfortunate that we celebrate the effort of other countries, because to be honest with you, those people doing the job, they were trained from somewhere else, and we are just relying on the glory. On our own, we cannot do anything based on what we are doing, and it's just so shameful. There's a need for us to do a total overhaul of how we run sport in Nigeria. We cannot continue to do this, and we expect a different result. Congratulations to the Tigers, but this is another opportunity for us to do soul searching and correct the ills that we have in our sport.
Let them just give them their 100,000 and national honor and 3-bedroom flat.
Anyway,
I don't want to hear they don't deserve it or one thing they are born. Where they were born,
they deserve it.
I don't want to hear where they were born. Anything.
Give me $100,000, then give them two.
Simple. Five at a go is not. It's not what's it called? It's not a tap on the wrist. These girls actually put their work.
Okay.
And they're actually not even the most dominant team in Africa. They started 5 years ago. Before, this is the 10th edition. We won the last 5. Before now, we've not won it before. Before the last 5, we've not. Yes. Correction. In the 5 years ago, that was when we were able to assemble foreign-born Nigerians. We are saying the same thing. They are Nigerians. Let them give them their national
American
and their money.
Nigerians.
Oh my!
Wherever they develop, it's not our business. Since this is the status quo now, Jerry. This is the status quo now.
These ladies,
so let's give them what they duly deserve.
These ladies have Nigerian passports.
They are Nigerians, Jerry.
They are Nigerians. Let's forget whether they were born abroad or they relocated abroad at some point in time. It happens. A lot of countries have situations like that. That doesn't take the shine off the fact. Anyway, it shows that if the facilities that are in the US, for instance, and in the UK, when it comes to sports, are brought back home in Nigeria, imagine the level at which Nigeria is going to conquer the world in terms of sports. Imagine our football has the standard of the English Premier League in terms of facilities, organization. Imagine what Nigerian players will be doing as far as the World Cup and the African Cup of Nations is concerned. Imagine we have that quality of the NBA, if not close to at least 50% of what we see in the NBA back home here. That means we'll be dominating Africa. And of course, this is a challenge to those who administer sport, to the government, because as at 10 years ago, or let me say 15 years ago, when more than 15 years ago when I joined the sporting fraternity, this has always been the Bible word, the preaching. Let's develop our sport. And more than 15 years after, still yet, we are still talking about the same thing. I think sometimes I get tired of repeating the same thing. It's just like our leaders don't know what to do. Obviously, they know the right thing to do, but they will to do the right thing because everybody is fighting for their personal pocket. But it is sad, but it is a situation that the future of this country is going through. We've talked about grassroots football. We talk about how the grassroots are not given opportunities. That is why you see them start blossoming at the age of 30 and they are forced to reduce their age because the opportunities did not meet them at a very young age. But maybe grassroots football now is trying a little bit. I can see some bit of life there, but still on still, most of those owners are looking for where to sell them to Malaysian league, all those kind of league. At the end of the day, you need to hear Victor Boniface's story. You will know that I think he said something of how he found himself in a country where the league is not, the country is not recognized, it's not ranked by FIFA. So, and they gave him a challenge that he will have to play corner and go ahead and head the ball into the net because he was competing with another African player for a sport that the scout was watching. That he will have to do the impossible to win a slot to be taken to. It's really sad because if you hear the stories of these boys, I think I even saw there was a time at the stadium, a young boy came to meet me at the National Stadium. He got an invitation to play, to come and join the club side. Is it Azerbaijani league? And this boy is just 14. And he said his father was saying he should go and make inquiries and ask questions. They should come to the stadium, they should meet people and ask questions. When he met me, he showed me the invite, he showed me the agent's picture and everything. I said, young man, you are still 14. Why do you want to take a risk and risk your life? Try and see if you can make it in any of the league first back home here. Because you might, what if these people are just human traffickers? Don't go out of desperation, go to Azerbaijani. Come on. It doesn't got it out bad. But it is what it is. Anyway, that's the situation we'll find ourselves. But I'm happy he took the advice and he's still fighting his way. I hope he will make it before he turns 18 and see if he can move abroad. And who knows?
You still see him around?
Yeah, we still talk once in a while. Okay. Once in a while.
That means he took the advice.
Yeah. Okay, if we are not communicating, he might be as a vagina now, kicking the ball around. You know? But that's not the situation. I think his story is still, I'm still hopeful about this young man. But let's talk about the situation of South Africa. There's updates that it looks like FIFA is taking attention from what all we've been saying as far as the 3-point deduction for fielding an ineligible player, talking about Teboho Mokoena in their match against Lesotho. Mokoena was supposed to be suspended due to accumulated yellow cards, but played 82 minutes in the game, which South Africa won by 2-0. FIFA has already informed South Africa of the breach, and the South African Football Association has accepted wrongdoing. Okay, so lawyer Ikechukwu, your people you've been defending have decided to accept their wrongdoing. They know that what they did was wrong, and according to the report, FIFA will dock South Africa 3 points and 3 goals for the infraction. The final decision on the point deduction is expected to be announced before the next round of games in September. And if South Africa is indeed penalized, Nigeria could move to 3 points of the group leaders, within 3 points, I beg your pardon, giving them a renewed hope agenda of qualifying for the World Cup. All right, and it's very good to have a crucial match against South Africa upcoming, which could be a group decider. With this development, Nigeria's hopes of picking the sole ticket from the group have been renewed or reignited, if that is the language. Okay, Chico, over to you.
Jerry, this one you're sounding like. At some point, I had to look at it twice to be sure I'm not seated next to Bayo Onanuga.
No. It hasn't got to that level, please. Let's bring me back. No. I will have that tag, please. Bring me down.
But of course, I mean, it's a good news. I mean, music to my ears. Nigeria is, 3 points within, South Africa. And with that, with 3 goals deducted as well, it means that if Nigeria win that game, definitely head-to-head, Nigeria is going ahead of South Africa first. No matter what the other, numbers, as regards goes forward or go against in the group is saying, Nigeria is definitely going to be ahead of South Africa. And if they continue, if they both win the rest of their game, Nigeria is going to the World Cup automatically. That's what that means. And while why I'm actually very happy, I also will be looking at that particular part of the rule book that I was very much emphasizing on the other day. Should South Africa decide at this point? Now, this is what I was saying that yes, they can actually agree that okay, you can plead guilty in court, right? it does not mean that you'll be sentenced for that particular thing.
Okay.
I mean, your sentence might just be lighter because you pleaded guilty, and then you gave a good case for. You make a good case at the end of the day. So South Africa can easily say, okay, yes, we are actually guilty of what you're actually accusing us of.
Yeah.
But of course, the rule says this. These guys didn't actually, file any complaint. And Jerry, I know you want to go back to the fact that it happened to. No, I know.
Are you still in this position?
No, Jerry. What I'm saying is,
okay.
I know you want to go back to the fact that when it happened to us, nobody complained, right?
Okay.
But the truth is, the fact that nobody complained before
These people have accepted their wrongdoing.
does not make. Yes, you can.
Have they paid you? Have they given you your lawyer fees? You still want to defend your fees?
No,
I understand.
See, you know what I'm talking about this thing. I'm very, very bothered about that part. I think that thing should be expunged since it means nothing in that particular context. If it means nothing, it should be expunged because you can't have it there and say it means nothing. Really.
No matter how statutes are, because statutes always have clauses. And I can't really say about the clauses because I think I'm going to put it as a responsibility to go and do a research on the statutes of FIFA as regards this and the clauses that are involved so that we can educate our viewers. So we'll not speak from the top of our head. But with what we've just monitored, it shows that there's a clause in that statute that says that even if those who will, Lesotho does not complain, FIFA can still take the veto power to make sure that this thing is done because it will be unfair to other teams in the group if South Africa takes undue advantage due to the fact that there's a clause that they did not report in 48 hours. We've seen situations even when Lesotho might not even be aware. It will have to take maybe a journalist who is following up. And you might even be surprised, South Africa were aware, but decided to play a gamble that nobody is going to find out. And though they flogged the official who was supposed to be taking notes, I think even for South Africa, it's a grievous mistake. For them alone, it's a lesson. And I think Nigeria also learned a lesson from the same situation. Fortunately, we've already qualified in that situation. But Mariwa, these people have accepted their wrongdoing, but I understand that Ikechukwu is defending his lawyer fees. But it is what it is. South Africa is going to be deducted 3 points, and it puts the Super Eagles in a good position ahead of the game against the Bafana.
Well, on a lighter note, when I heard renewed hope in the script, I thought maybe on your mandate we follow. I was expecting.
Hey, Joe. Let's take it easy.
In any case, the thing is this: no matter what it is, they committed a crime, and they have to face the punishment. Even sometimes, and this is more legally now. Even when some issues happen, even if you as an individual do not want to press charges, the state sometimes takes over the responsibility and press the charge. And the reason for that is this: so that it will serve as a deterrent to others not to do it. Even if Botswana did not file any complaint or Lesotho did not file any complaint, I mean, it's still in the jurisdiction of FIFA to do the right thing. However, it is good that this is coming. South Africa, they erred, and there are rules that are supposed to be followed. They didn't follow the rule, and it has happened to Nigeria before, and we suffered the same consequence. I think they should suffer the same consequence. However, the big question is this: even with the deduction of 3 points, are we sure? How sure are we that we are going to take advantage of that? Remember, against Zimbabwe, we are supposed to win that game at all costs. What did we do? We threw that game away in the 90th minute. That is what really, really matters. I don't even care about the 3 points that want to be deducted for South Africa. What really matters is this: will our boys be able to step up to be counted when it matters most, even when the 3 points is deducted? As for South Africa, they've already accepted, and there is no point, trying to help them plead their case as Ikechukwu is doing. They're already guilty, they know, and they should be fined appropriately. But the question is this: will Nigeria be able to take advantage of this? Well, for me, I think I doubt it, but let's see what the boys and Eric Chell will do in terms of taking advantage the South African assignment to Nigeria.
All right, it's going to be a very difficult game. If you ask me, that game will be a very, very interesting one because these two teams will be going for the jugular. It's going to make that game even more competitive than any other game as far as the qualifiers is concerned. Of course, we know the rivalry between South Africa and the Super Eagles of Nigeria. I think I will have to say it will be a big one if the Super Eagles can go out there in South Africa and get 3 points. But Ikechukwu has the belief that when the chips are down, when the Eagles are in a delicate situation, they somehow find a way to turn up. But the South Africans are not going to let it go easy. So I think I don't want to be in that situation where I'll be watching that game because the South Africans are at home. Africans are at home. So they want to do everything possible, talking about all the tricks in the book and so on and so forth to make sure they get that game. I can't wait for that game. It's going to be a cracker, definitely.
It's definitely going to be a cracker. Psychologically, South Africa will be more under pressure.
Yeah.
Because, they want to win that game. They will approach the game with the mindset of, no margin for error. And when you approach a game with that mindset, you're most likely going to make a lot of errors. So it's now builds the Super Eagles if they can actually take their chance. So it's all about number of chances you can actually take, and this is where I will give it to Eric Chell. I think the Super Eagles, since he actually took over the job, I think the way he's actually approaching the game, he wants a high intensity team, and it's only a high intensity team that is technical that can defeat South Africa. If you watch the way South Africans have been playing, even in their league, they like to actually play high intensity game, right? So if we go to South Africa and we approach the game with a very, we are already down mindset, let's go into South Africa and enjoy the game, we're definitely going to come out with 3 points. But then if we go into the game with the same mindset they actually are coming into the game with, and it's going to be a problem for us because we're going to be making most of the errors. And again, another thing in this sort of game is that the person that draws the first blood is most likely to take it. So again, it's going to be a game of who wants it most. And I want to believe that with the arrays of stars we are parading in this particular team, 2 African Footballer of the Year in that particular team, and of course the best player in the latest AFCON also in that team. I want to believe they have the experience enough to actually weather this sort of environment because it's going to be quite an interesting environment to actually do business. I don't think the atmosphere is going to be more hostile than what many of our players are actually used to in Europe. But then again in Africa, a lot of things are going to happen, and the referee of that day is going to be all eyes going to be on that referee. South Africa, we want to actually come for a kill, so a draw will also be an advantage for them. So Nigeria will not want a draw in that particular game. It's all 3 points. Like you said, it's going to be a game of one of the games to remember in Africa, I think, in this decade, because they are going to come all out with everything they've got. And I just hope that at the end of the day, the CAF chairman, Patrice Motsepe, is neutral for that particular game because they have this sort of uncanny influence. We remember how Cameroon used to be a whipping child in African continent until Issa became CAF president. Within 86 and the year actually left office, we know how many Nations Cup they won and how they won it. So you understand how all of this interpolitics can actually be played. So all of these things can actually a lot of things that will happen before the game, before this guy steps into the pitch, is going to really define the outcome of the game.
All right. As long if NFL wants to be in a very good situation, they should put a call through to Amaju Pinnick. He understands the politics. Of course, he works with FIFA, and of course, we all know how under his time we're always making it to the World Cup. It's not only what happened on the pitch. Trust me, a lot of things also happen behind the scenes to make sure that a lot of things happen for the team. All right, let's go to the next one. Atlanta's CEO Luca Pecassi has revealed the conditions under which the club would consider selling Ademola Lookman. According to Pecassi, Lookman had previously requested to be sold to a top European club, and Atlanta had agreed to consider offers based on 2 conditions. The buyer must be a top European club, and Lookman would not wear another Italian team's jersey. And Lookman has submitted a transfer request after Inter Milan's 45 million euros offer was rejected by Atalanta. He claimed that Atalanta had promised to allow him to leave the summer, but Pecassi disputes this, saying that the club decides when to sell its players. Pecassi emphasized that Atalanta is a credible club that evaluates the value and timing of its players carefully. The club is reportedly willing to consider selling Lookman, but only if the conditions are met. Lookman has been linked to several top European clubs, and his future remains uncertain. I think this is one too many. The same thing they did to Victor Osimhen, they want to replicate that. I think it shows that maybe they just feel they can do this to African players, Nigerian players, and get away with it. If Napoli could stretch Osimhen as big as he is, why can't we do it to his brother, Lookman? How do you say this, that he must not join another Italian club? I don't know. Atlanta and Inter Milan, they don't even have any connection in terms of pedigree level or anything. When it comes to top, Atlanta is not even there. I'm telling you, since I can't remember the last 15 years, Atlanta was in a big situation until the Europa League they won, courtesy of this man. Why this ungratefulness on the part of club owners, Maiwa? And it's becoming a trend, forcing these players to stay, making things difficult for them.
Well, we have to ask one critical question. We remember, a lot of people might not remember the way Ademola Lookman got into Atlanta was not by choice. It was by let's see what he can do. And he got there and he turned things around for himself. That's number one. Number two, at that particular point in time, what is the contract? What are the clauses in his contract? If those clauses are not there, right, Atlanta will be bridging cash through, in terms of allowing players to move freely. They'll be bridging it, and that would not apply. We should ask the critical question: what was the clauses in the contract Ademola Lookman signed? Remember when Ademola Lookman wanted to leave the last time, he had a gentleman agreement with them that he will play one more season and he will leave. However, what he has signed, the club has every right, to trigger whatever it is inside that particular contract. And if it is not in that particular contract, if it's not in the contract that Ademola Lookman inked, now Atlanta will not come out and say this. Ademola Lookman is handing in his request based off the fact that they have a gentleman's agreement. A gentleman's agreement does not negate or is not an addendum to the contract Ademola Lookman signed. I think African players should begin to understand what it means to sign contract. I understand how it got to Inter Milan. I understand how it got to Atlanta, and I'm glad that it worked out for him. However, if there is a clause in his contract that says you can't play for another Italian club, we have to sell you overseas, then respectfully, Ademola Lookman will have to honor that contract or find another alternative club outside, Italy that he can go to. It's just business. We cannot fault the Atlanta side. We have to fault our own players, and this is also a learning curve. The same thing happened to Osimhen. The same thing is happening to Ademola Lookman. And the reason why all these clubs have the upper hand is the kind of contract our players are signing. It doesn't really make any sense. The players need to do their due diligence before signing any contract. Now we are in a situation, Ademola Lookman might be in conflict with Atlanta, and we might see Ademola Lookman going to Galatasaray or Turkey to be loaned out, because I don't think he want to play for Atlanta again. Bottom line, players need to observe the contract before they put pen to paper. Don't sign contract when you are too excited or when you are anxious. The result will come back to haunt you 2-3 years down the line, and that's what we are seeing at the moment.
All right. And sometimes these players, in the side heat of the moment, they will not expect that one day they'll become the African Footballer of the Year, they become a hot property, and even score a hat-trick in the Europa League final. So it's really a difficult situation. But if there's no such clause in the contract and the club decide that this is how we want to do it, somehow the club might feel because they own the player, they will decide how they will sell him. But what happens to morality? I know it's all about business. Let's squeeze the situation. Let's force him to play. But you're letting a player who is unhappy stay at the club side.
So, Jerry, you have to actually look at the Osimhen's case and then look at this Ademola Lookman's case, and you know that there's just one constant. The owners of this club side are serious businessmen. Everything aside, they want to make money, and this is their property. The owner of Atlanta, or the CEO of Atlanta, rather, was actually saying that they had a conversation last season, right? And they agreed that, you know what, to allow you leave to any club you want to go outside Italy next season, right? And that was the agreement. That if they actually meet the offer, then definitely you will allow you go. We're not holding you. This is the clause. But you are actually not going to be playing in Italy. That was the condition. And he agreed. So he wasn't even hoping that a top club in Italy would be coming for him. If he had known that Inter would be coming, maybe he would have said, no, I'm not actually going to accept this particular contract. But he agreed, and now we are here. Atletico Madrid's offer is not as enticing as what Inter Milan is actually bringing, and that's why he wants to remain in Italy, and he's loved Italy already. And this is the issue. I think at this point, right, he really needs to sit down with the CEO and say, okay, I want to join Inter Milan. How is it going to be? There's something about Italians, right? There's something about how they actually do business. It's difficult for a player in his prime, 26, 27, 28, to actually leave a top team in Italy. Atalanta is a top team. Yes, it might not be at the level of Inter Milan and co. But at least in the last 3 seasons, you can say they're a top team in Italy now, right? And it's difficult for a player to actually leave that particular club for another top club in Italy. It's difficult. They don't do it, except the player is already way past his prime. The likes of Andre Pirlo and co, they can actually move and switch from one place to another. Or a player who, yes, he can actually move from that place to another. Is not an integral part of the team, because they know the damage is going to actually cost them. This is one of the reasons why Luis Suarez actually didn't join. I mean, he wanted to join Arsenal, if you remember. But of course, it was difficult because of the conditions. Harry Kane, it was also difficult because of the conditions. So clubs had intentionally made these things difficult for their most prized asset to actually remain, in that country against them. And I think the last time something of this magnitude happened anywhere in the world was actually in Spain. And I don't think it's ever going to happen. When Luis Figo actually crossed from Barcelona to Real Madrid, we all saw. I mean,
Fernando Torres left Liverpool for Chelsea.
Of course, Fernando Torres at that point.
Robbie Van Persie from Arsenal to Man United.
Arsenal's case is quite different. We know how Arsenal can actually do business, sell their most prized. And as at that time, Arsenal was still very much trying to actually build,
Arsenal didn't want to let Van Persie go, but the guy had to force his way out.
Yes, these are outliers. Yeah. But in majority of the case, we see big players like that. And Arsenal at that point, as in fact, that season that Van Persie actually left.
If we were to be an European player, we'd be a different kettle of fish.
No, Jerry. We've seen a lot of. In fact, this thing happened most with European players. Luis Figo, we know what happened in Spain. How they almost burnt down.
He had his way.
Exactly, but the conditions was not even there.
If it comes to African players,
Jerry, the condition of you will not move was not part of the clause. So.
How do we know? If the president then had come out and said there was a clause.
Jerry, if there was a clause, Figo wouldn't have made that move.
What of Van Persie? If Van Persie,
there was no clause like this. It's just a condition of we don't want it, right? It's just their own rule within themselves that will not sell our best player.
Can we say maybe the lessons of those things had made
exactly make clubs start adjusting and saying, okay, this thing has to be enforced so that this thing will not happen, because oftentimes when they make this move, it comes back to haunt this club side. And there's no way Ademola Lookman will not hurt Atlanta if he joins Inter Milan.
What more can he do to Atlanta? At least he'll score against them. That's all. Yeah, because what if
it's a game that they actually need and they need a point to actually make it to Europe?
So it is that if they are playing Inter Milan, Ademola Lookman or not, Inter Milan will always have an edge because they have better players than Atlanta.
See, Jerry, to see the quality of Ademola Lookman today, it's not easy. That will not come to Italy and struggle.
Anyway, it is
for the first season. So these are the things they will always look at. It better go and bring the person from outside.
Okay. Anyway, I just feel for Ademola Lookman.
I mean, because the guy is a cool-headed young man, and he's taking it very, very reasonably. But I mean, it is what it is. It's a contract.
See, the issue is this: in as much as we can feel bad all we want for Ademola Lookman and the rest of that. And this is me talking logically, as if you look at it from a businessman perspective. Before you sign the contract, read it carefully. And this goes to all other African players, even those that are trying to escape poverty and the rest of that. Don't use your desperation to escape poverty to sign contracts. We knew Remember the last match Ademola Lookman played for Fulham. He tried a Panenka and that failed, and that was the end. The coach vowed to never play him again, and that was how he left. He was taken away from Fulham. Atlanta came to the rescue. At that particular point in time, he might be going the way of Dele Alli, and decided to sign for the next best thing that came for him, which is Atlanta. And that's the reason why he didn't go through the clause, because the thing is if that clause is not in the contract, it will never be enforceable. Yes. It will not take Ademola Lookman anything to take them to a court of arbitration and get this straightened out. But because the clause is there and he has signed, I mean, you can't fault the businessman, and what the businessman is doing without any sentiment is very, very correct. He has every right to do what he's doing. The big question is our players should be very careful when they are signing contracts. Read the fine lines, understand it, take your time before you make that decision so it doesn't come back to haunt you.
All right, let's see how that pans out. We'll give you update as far as Ademola Lookman's situation at Atlanta is concerned. I would have loved him to play for Inter Milan next season, but it looks like it's going to be a very difficult call, and for that to happen, because even Atlanta is even offering to give him more money to stay at the club side. Of course, we talked about that. Even with more money, he should leave, but I think Atlanta won't let him go that easy. But it is what it is. Let's talk about Chelsea star Tosin Adarabioyo's international future is nearing a resolution, with sources hinting at a possible Super Eagles debut. The 27-year-old defender, born in England to Nigerian parents, has been eligible to represent either country. Although he has played for England at youth levels, he has yet to feature for the senior national team. And of course, he was recently spotted in Lagos, where he received a warm welcome from fans and admirers. And according to sources, he visited Nigeria to familiarize himself with the environment. This development has sparked speculation that he may be leaning towards representing the Super Eagles. Yes, Adarabioyo will always be a conversation, but it is what it is.
He was actually talking recently that he's not decided, to play for England yet. That
England or Nigeria?
No, for England, right? That the door to play for Nigeria is still very much open, and that he's actually taking his time to actually make that decision. And the body language he was actually giving was leaning towards the fact that maybe he's beginning to consider. No, he's beginning to consider to play for Nigeria, but it's going to so many things. It's going to take certain conditions, which he really didn't mention. But I want to believe that those conditions are, if Nigeria will actually make it to the World Cup, how is Nigeria going to actually fare in the next Nations Cup, stuff like that. So these are the things that he's definitely looking at. But for me, I mean, he should really consider his age, and Eric Shearer should also look at the fact that you need to build team so that when you see, because the thing is, I also want to borrow a leaf from what Eni Aluko said, the Chelsea female player, of course, the England international as well, who was talking about the fact that the NFF has failed to actually make our national team attractive for foreign-born Nigerians. That she never knew that there's a Super Falcon that she would have considered giving a chance to play for Nigeria, but that they were actually not right there at a global stage for her to really see them. Stuff like that. So, but the thing is,
global stage.
Yes.
It seems as at 99, they've already gone to the
No.
World Cup.
Jerry,
how many World Cup did she play?
Eni Aluko is lying.
How many World Cup did Eni Aluko playing?
Nigeria was in 99.
She will say she was not informed.
No, that's what I'm saying. She's talking about the brand and how we've been able to.
Eni Aluko is not serious.
We've been able to actually develop our game, and now
she should keep our punditry business to us.
If we do the right thing, if we do the right thing and have people with immense quality playing for the Super Eagles, people like Adarabioyo will not think twice to want to part of the Super Eagles setup. But as far as I'm concerned, this is my own position on Adarabioyo. Since he's decided to actually keep stalling, I'll just, if I were the NFF chairman or president rather, I would have just marked him X, and I would not invite him to play with Super Eagles, because I mean this is very, very disrespectful what he's doing.
He's playing ping pong with a chance of playing for the Super Eagles. It's not his fault anyway. And maybe those who have been talking to him I think if I'm a journalist, I come across as a journalist covering an event, and Tosin comes in, I think I will not even mention when are you going to play Super Eagles. I think I will get tired of the recycling of the talk. Okay, I think we don't really need you. Just enjoy your football, because it's not even, I don't know, it's not Thiago Silva now, or it's not Konate, or is it not?
We've seen defenders that way better. I mean, we've seen Taribo West in Super Eagles.
Was he better than Taribo West?
Joseph Yobo.
Joseph Yobo in the Premier League. So I don't know what's so big.
Well,
I know.
Well, the thing is this. I saw him he wants to launder his image. He was in Nigeria doing some media rounds and just, by the way, he's from Oyo State. He was in Nigeria doing some rounds, and he was at some media stations, doing interview, even wearing native and just all that. And this kind of statement annoys me a whole lot. Nigeria do not have any business, looking at a player like this. And I want to quote what he said. He has not decided to play for Nigeria. He will only play for Nigeria until where some certain conditions are met. Somebody who will turn 29 early next year is giving Nigeria a condition. Somebody who is not good enough to make it into the English national team. If he was good enough, he would not be saying this. I think it's high time we begin to do away with people that don't take Nigeria first. He has been dilly-dallying all this while. He did not, the talk of playing for Nigeria did not come up until he was 26, 27. Now he's going to 29. He still wants to give Nigeria any condition. If I were chair and the NFF board, I think it's high time we forget players like this. To be honest, and I'm not being harsh, I don't think he adds any value to Nigeria. Even in Chelsea, he is not a regular. Sometimes he plays, sometimes he does not play. Do we want such a player to play for our national team? And this is what annoys me about the mentality we have adopted for people representing our national team. Why would somebody not be giving you condition when 8 out of the 11 players are foreign-born? And I don't have any issues with those foreign-born players, but these are the reasons why people like this, that doesn't add any value to the Nigerian national team, will come and be saying he will only play for Nigeria if a certain conditions is met. To be honest, I think the NFF should do away with him. He doesn't have any business with the national team. Whether he plays for Nigeria or not, Nigeria is already a brand. Even though we have people who don't know anything about football running it, we're already a brand, and we don't need the Tosin Adarabioyo to be part of our team.
All right. And of course, if you take a look at the defense and setup of the Super Eagles, I think, say for Calvin Bassey, Calvin Bassey, I think is a better option to me. And maybe because Chustekong is on his way out in terms of age, that could be why the conversation about Tosin keeps coming up. But it is what it is. Time not really our friend. We'll have to wrap it up here. Ikechukwu, it's been awesome having you on the show. And big thanks, my wife, for being awesome. And we already have some comments on YouTube. Let me take Olugbenge Bamdele is a regular with us. He says that renewed hope agenda is working. Okay. Anyway, Climate Wonder says agenda renewed indeed. And this is the referee. He mentioned the referee. He said the referee could come from Libya. I hope not. I think I'll be the first to raise the placard if I find out that the referee.
Morocco should not officiate.
Should not officiate. That's an African game. All right, big thanks, Shegun. Not leaving out the likes of Alex and of course Jeremiah and Hassan. My name is Jerry Apela. Thanks for being a part of the show. We'll meet again. And up next is Political Lens with Chukwuma Okoro. Until then, stay safe, and if not changing at all, do it the sport way.